I'm considering where we are. It's not yeah.
Okay, so let's start with a quick review of what we learned, and you'll see the second time it's going to be much easier. So holding page 817 in the English. We're learning now. Anyone remember what we're learning? That's really good. So I just want to point out that there's really two aspects to the Sefirah Omer. Mitzvah of the Omer, and together with that, there's also special halachas that we keep during Sefirah Omer. So there's a mitzvah of counting, and we'll see that there's certain things that we do and certain things that we don't do during Sefirah Omer. So let's just quickly review from yesterday. When do we start counting the Omer? That's right. Yeah, exactly. The second day, second night. The second night, that's right. So it's the second night, correct. When counting the Omer, you lay down, you sit down, what do you do? Standing up, exactly. When is the time? When does the mitzvah begin?
3 stars in the sky.
That's right, by nightfall. So not by when the sun sets, not by Shkia, by Tzeisek Echavim, by actual nightfall. Okay, this is a little bit of a side note. What used to be the custom by all shuls after davening on a Friday night? Anyone remember? Kiddush, correct. So today, why don't we do it?
First, people aren't sleeping at the show.
That's right, because there's nobody, guests, they're not staying over at the shul. So what's the purpose for making Kiddush? Because it used to be, back in the day, that the shul used to be a place where guests stayed, and they had their meals in the shul. So they made a special takana, they made a special, they instituted a new law, a new rule, a custom, that Kiddush is always made after davening in order for those who are staying in the shul to be able to hear Kiddush, and right away they can begin to eat their meal. Of course, to wash, so on and so forth. Now, what is the halacha? If you still have the shuls today that do it, it's more common in Ashkenazi shuls. What comes first, Kiddush or Sefirah Omer?
Kiddush.
Kiddush, why?
Because you're sanctifying.
That's right. First, you want to sanctify the day, and then you perform the mitzvah of Sefirah Omer. Now, what about the opposite? What about when we make Havdalah?
You gotta do the Omer first.
Why?
Because you want to extend Shabbos.
Exactly, correct. Now, here's a trick question. What happens if in the same night you have to make Kiddush and Havdalah? Oh, let's see. That's right. Why is that? Because ultimately, Havdalah takes precedent, meaning to push off Havdalah takes precedence. You want to keep the Kedushas Hayom for as long as you could. Now is the fun halachos. What happens if you forgot to count by night?
It depends.
Okay, what is the time?
Well, during the day you can count again without a bracha.
Without a bracha,
But if
correct.
you forget to count that day, still count, but
And what happens if you did count by day?
then you can say it that night
With a bracha. Exactly. Yeah, so it's clear. So if you forget, let's say tonight, Pastor Shalom, somebody by accident forgot to count, right? That's right. So what do? So the next tomorrow by day, you count without a blessing, without a bracha. And then when it comes that time for Ma'ariv, that time to count, you continue counting with a blessing. If you forgot to count the following day, so you can still continue your count, but make a blessing. You do not make a bracha. Now, what happens? It's 817 in English. What happens if you're not sure? In halacha, it's called a suffix. You have a question, you have a doubt, whether or not you counted the Omer by night, and you for sure did not count by day. What can you do the following night? If what? You could say it with a bracha, correct. So again, this is a chiddush, a novelty. So you have a suffix, it's questionable whether or not you counted by day. You're not sure, maybe you did, maybe you didn't. You know for sure you didn't count the entire day following the night, obviously. So that night you can still count with a blessing. You can still count with a bracha. Yeah. Correct. Yeah. So correct. So if the person by accident said that tonight is this so and so, then you still count, but you don't make a blessing. Why is that? Because it's as if you counted, because we have a principle in halacha that shemeya ka'ena, that if you hear something, it's as if you said it. Shemeya ka'ena. So therefore, if you heard the person saying tonight is so and so, you fulfilled the mitzvah on a very strict level, and therefore one does not make a blessing when they count. When you actually go ahead and to fulfill the mitzvah by yourself, you do not make a bracha. But if you're davening with a minyan, you just have in mind to the chazin's bracha, and you're good to go. Okay, now before reciting the blessing, before reciting the bracha, what should you do first? Tricky question.
Stand up.
Stand up is one of the things that we mentioned, correct? What else? Exactly. One should know l'chadchila what they're making a blessing on. Right? So as a general, exactly. There's a general rule that before a person makes any blessing, they should know what the blessing is being recited upon. So over here, you have the mitzvah, Sefirah Omer, you're about to fulfill the mitzvah of counting of the Omer. So you should know which day you're counting, which mitzvah you're going to fulfill. What happens if you didn't? You just said the blessing and you relied. It's okay, that's right, you can still count and you don't have to make another blessing. Now, what happens if you had in mind, tonight I'm going to count for day 3. So when you had the blessing, you had in mind, today I'm counting for day 3, and then really you realized tonight is actually, so if it's before you said anything, you just had in mind at the time of the blessing, so there's no problem, you just say the right day. If you actually counted the wrong day, if right away you fixed it, that's okay. But if you're a mafsik, you did something in between, then you should count again with a blessing. Okay, very good. Yeah. Was it easier than yesterday? Not confusing?
So if you counted the wrong day,
yeah.
So you need to say that day again without the wrong.
So if you count yourself right away and you realize I counted the wrong day, you count with the right day without a blessing, without a bracha. If you waited a little bit or you did something else, whenever you're mafsik, you stop the process of counting, so to speak, then you count with a bracha. That's right.
But even if you say like the mistake, like the next day.
Correct. Okay, so we're going to skip the fifth halacha because it's dealing with a custom that we don't do. So we're holding page 818 in the Lashon HaKodesh, 819 in the English, halacha vav, the sixth halacha. So until now, we were covering the halachas of the actual mitzvah of Sefirah Omer, the actual commandment, the mitzvah of counting the Omer. Now, we're going to be discussing the days of Sefirah themselves. That there's certain customs that we have, and we'll see why we keep these customs, and we'll touch upon the day of Lag BaOmer, and we'll say, actually, you're not going to see why it's a You'll see one aspect of why it's a special day. There's another reason which is brought. So Vav, Bimei HaSfira, in the days of Sfira, Mesu, Talmidei Rabbi Akiva, B'Shleisha U'Shleishim Yom. So in the days of Sfira, anyone knows Rabbi Akiva is? Yeah, he was a big Tana. Rabbi Akiva was a tremendous Tana, that thanks to him we have the entire Torah Sheba'al Peh. So he had 24,000 Talmidim, 12,000 Chavrusas, and during the days of Sefirah Omer, they all passed away. Anyone know why?
They have a lack of Auspicious.
Oh, Shalai Nahabu Kaved Zeh B'Zeh. They did not honor one another. So let's just ponder on this a little bit. It's hard to understand. Omer Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva says, Rabbi Akiva is the one that taught us that you have to love your fellow as yourself. So how is it possible that the students of Rabbi Akiva, who were real students and were fully committed to their teacher, how could it be that they themselves were not honoring one another if their whole Rebbe, their teacher, that's one of his main messages. How is it possible? So the Rebbe in the Chiddush actually explained that what's the pshat? And the pshat is that they were so strong in their opinion of what their teacher held that they didn't even see place for the other person to think what the teacher held, what Rabbi Akiva held. Meaning, let's say Rabbi Akiva taught something, and you can take it two ways, so to speak. Let's say, right? You can learn one way, or you can learn the other way. So they were so adamant in their way of learning against the other students that didn't respect each other's opinions. So we see how serious it is.
In which way they didn't respect?
They didn't do anything they were saying the other side is wrong, we're right, nothing too crazy, but we see how serious it is. The importance of having Yisrael and respecting and honoring our friends, our peers, whoever you see. So being that now, as we just read, this period of mourning is for 33 days. But we know that we keep it for 49 days. We'll see in a second what the source of our custom is. So therefore, being that this is what happened during this time period, therefore, we have a custom. The custom is these days, we observe a partial state of mourning. Yeah, so if Chas v'Shalom somebody passes away, the children, whatever the Shar Krevin, the other relatives, depending on who, they have the laws of mourning. So, being that this is the time that all of the Talmidim, all of the students of Rabbi Akiva passed away, so we don't have the full halachas, we don't have all the actual laws of mourning, but we observe some customs of mourning. What does that mean? we don't make chasanas, we don't make weddings during this time. And also, you don't take haircuts. Yeah. So during Sefirah Omer, it's not a time where people get married, and also it's not a time to get a haircut. ויש חילוק מנהגים במצווה שלושים יום האלה, יש מקיים נהגים שחשבון 10 יום ראשון לספירה ולכן 10 עד ל"ג בעומר. Now, how do we count these 33 days? Sefirah Omer is 49 days, right? But we know that the students of Rabbi Akiva only passed away for a total of 33 days. So why do we keep a full 49-day period? We'll see in a second. However, before we get to that, but we see that strictly speaking, the halachas of mourning or partial mourning is only for 33 days. Now, there are different ways to calculate those 33 days. As we just read, some have the custom that these days are observed from when you start counting Sefirah Omer. So from the second night of Pesach, when you start counting Sefirah Omer, they have a tradition that that's when it started happening. That's when the students started to pass away. So therefore, you count from then, and where do you go to? How many days? Oh, so if you count for 33 days, it's Lag BaOmer. So you start from the first night of Sefirah, which is the second night of Pesach. You observe 33 days of mourning, and you stop on Lag BaOmer. So there's one tradition, one custom which is passed down, that is the main part of the mourning, and therefore it begins the second night of Sefirah. The second night of Pesach, which is the first night of Sefirah, and you finished on Lag BaOmer.
How do we know that they started dying?
It's passed down. It's two Mercedes, two traditions which are passed down. We know for sure it's 33. The question is, when did it start and when did it stop? So according to one tradition, according to one Sefirah, it starts from the first night of Sefirah, which is the second night of Pesach. You count 33 days. And then when it comes to Lag BaOmer, you stop. Ach, k'shechol resh chedesh iyar b'Shabbos. Yesh b'shtei kedusha Shabbos. Chedesh az b'ter Nissan. V'chein l'saper erev Shabbos. So this is interesting. According to this custom, if Shabbos falls on Rosh Chodesh, there's such a custom that you're allowed to get married and you're allowed to take a haircut on Friday, being that this Shabbos has two kedushas, two aspects of extra holiness. It's Shabbos on its own right, and it's Rosh Chodesh. So, according to this custom, they are allowed to, on Friday, take a haircut, and they allow weddings at that time. V'yom Lag BaOmer, on the actual day of Lag BaOmer, and also going forward, there's no more prohibition according to this tradition. Why? Because on Lag BaOmer itself, they finished passing away. Being that on Lag BaOmer, that's when it stopped. So even though on Lag BaOmer itself, some students passed away, we have a general rule in halacha, amrinon mixas hayem kekuli. We say that a little bit of the day, we treat it as if it's the entire day. Therefore, since on part of the day you have to observe some custom of mourning, so therefore you don't get married and you don't take a haircut by night. You wait until the day of Lag BaOmer. Once it hits the day of Lag BaOmer, then everything is off because you already observed a little bit of time of mourning, and the rest of the day you are good to go. Another exception to that rule is if Lag BaOmer falls on a Sunday, you're allowed to get a haircut on Friday, the Friday before L'Kavod Shabbos. So again,
Sorry.
Yeah, sure.
Only in the last one, only.
Yeah, if it's on Sunday, so you can take on Friday. You can do it before, correct. So again, let's just repeat this outside. So we have a tradition that the days that the students of Rabbi Akiva passed away were a total of 33 days. Yeah, 33 days. That's the amount of time that the students of Rabbi Akiva passed away. Now, how do you calculate these 33 days? We'll see there are three customs. There's two customs on how to calculate, but there are three customs on what is kept. According to the first custom that we mentioned, you start the 33 days from the night of Sefirah. So when you start counting Sefirah Omer, that's already day one. As you're counting the Sefirah, each day progresses, that's another day that we observe these halachas. Now, what does that mean? That means that you stop on Lag BaOmer, right? When it hits the day of Lag BaOmer, we stop, and not only that, but we increase in happiness, because that's the day that they stopped. And from now and on, you don't keep any more of the laws, the customs, the laws of mourning. Now, the students of Rabbi Akiva also, some of them passed away on Lag BaOmer itself. So being that they passed away on the day itself, we still observe a little bit of the day, some laws and customs of mourning. And the rest of the day is fine, you're good to go. Because we have a general rule in halacha as miktsas hayem kakula, that part of the day is considered as if it's been the whole day. So if you observe the laws of mourning for a little part of the day, in halacha it's viewed as if you kept the entire day and you are good to go. Yeah.
So basically, until Chatzos.
Not even till Chatzos. If that, the only implication is you don't take a haircut and you don't make a wedding by night. You push it off into the actual day. And once day hits, a little bit of the day must pass, 20 minutes. The day begins, today is around, I think, 5:14 a.m. So nobody's taking a haircut exactly 5:14. You take a haircut when you wake up, and after you daven. So you already observed part of the day of mourning, and you're good to go. Now, there are two exceptions to this rule, according to this custom. The first exception is if Rosh Chodesh Iyar falls on a Shabbos. So according to this custom, it's a haircut out of Rosh Chodesh, because this Shabbos, you have Kedushas Shabbos, you have the holy, and you have the holiness Kedush Chodesh. So because it's such a special day, we allow a haircut in honor of Shabbos and Rosh Chodesh. The next exception is on Lag BaOmer itself. One, can you take a haircut before? If Lag BaOmer falls on a Sunday, you can't take a haircut on Shabbos, right? So what do? You're allowed to cut your hair on Friday, the covered Shabbos, and being the Lag BaOmer is already on Sunday. Okay, that's one opinion. Zayin, the seventh halacha. Let's now see the second opinion. Yesh mekaymish shematirin ad Rosh Chodesh Iyar v'ad bichlal. There are those places that permit everything. You don't keep any laws of mourning, any laws of the Sefirah until Rosh Chodesh. Practically, what does that mean? That means today we're holding Chav Hei Nissan. That would mean is, according to this custom, we didn't start Sefirah yet. You didn't start the days of Sefirah. The mitzvah Sefirah you already started, but the laws, the customs of mourning did not start yet. Not until Rosh Chodesh. So you can listen to your music, you can take haircuts, no problem. According to this custom, that's not a custom. We'll see in a second what we do. I just wanted to bring out the practical implication of this opinion. So what does that mean? That means shehin shisha asayim, that you start your count of 33 days, 16 days into the Omer. Then you count your 33 days. So then you count 33 days until the Yom Tov of Shavuos, V'staprim be'erev HaChag, and you get a haircut on Erev Shavuos. Good. This is very interesting. Even according to the opinion, where you start your count on the 16th day of the Omer, you're still allowed to take a haircut on Lag BaOmer, according to them. So it's interesting. According to the first opinion, I understand, because according to the first way of counting, the days end on Lag BaOmer exactly. It's 33 days. It stops on Lag BaOmer. According to the second opinion, you start counting 16 days in, your count only starts at 60 days. When it hits Lag BaOmer, you did not finish your 33 days. Nevertheless, according to this opinion, you're still allowed to get a haircut. And when Lag BaOmer falls again on a Sunday, even according to this opinion, you can take a haircut on a Friday. Okay, you see? Complicated? Very, right? Okay. Now we'll see a third opinion. There are those that don't start the count of 33 days until Rosh Chodesh Iyar, and from the first day of Rosh Chodesh itself, that's when it becomes the 33-day start. The Okay, so the Kitzur, in short, as we mentioned, there are three customs on how to count the Omer. Either you start right away from Sefirah Omer, the second night of Pesach, or you go from Rosh Chodesh, or you go from the day before Rosh Chodesh, whatever it is. There are different customs in different communities, and the most important thing that I wanted to bring out over here is, in every kehillah, in every community, you have to follow that minhag. Follow that. If you're part of a community, then you have to follow the entire community.